Hi, my name is Tim McKenzie. I'll be your instructor here in ethics this semester. Just kind of want to say welcome. This is the summer course, and so we do go at a much quicker pace because it's summer. Typically, we would have 16 weeks plus a week for finals, and sometimes you also have been built in, like in the spring you have spring break, so you have 18 weeks, and we're going to do this all in 8 weeks. But technically, we have to finish the semester before you fully accomplish a week, because we start on Monday, semester ends on a Thursday, so you really only have about 7.5 weeks to do what you would basically have about 18 weeks to do during the regular semester. So with that said, the pace of this will be very quick, and so you need to kind of keep on top of it and do that. One of the questions people oftentimes ask me when they take an online class is they ask me, how can I be successful in it? And I always say there's 2 keys to being successful in an online class. The first one is don't be afraid to ask. When you're in a classroom, a regular classroom, you can always just count on somebody else to raise their hand and ask the question. But in an online course, you don't have that luxury. And if somebody emails me a question, what typically I would be answering for the whole class, I'm answering to that one person. And until I get the question 2 or 3 times, I don't realize maybe I've done something, maybe I've confused you, maybe I've not been as clear as I could be. And that's perfectly fine if I am, because people tell me sometimes I can be a little confusing. But the case is that, if I don't get that question a couple times, I don't know to answer that for everybody. And so ask the question, and, maybe you're the only one confused, but likely you're not. And so don't be afraid to ask. If you get behind, if you have an issue, if you're just confused, send me an email. That's number one, is don't be afraid to reach out. The reality is as long as you're not asking questions that you could just quickly answer by looking at the syllabus, like, when is this due? And even if you ask that, I don't get mad about it until you've done it 2 or 3 times, and then I might kind of be like, well, it's in the syllabus, if I've gotten the same question. But by and large, it doesn't bother me. That's what I'm paid to do. I'm here to help you, and so don't be afraid to ask. That's why I'm here. Second of all, the other thing people say, what do I need to be successful, is I always say, put aside time to work on the class. The reality is that an online class is something you can easily forget. If you have a regular class, you have a job, you have a kid, you have a wife or a girlfriend or boyfriend or husband, whatever, if you have these things, those things are there. And I can tell you from teaching, from living my life, that an online class, when things are busy, if I have a class where I have to go to the classroom and talk, it is a lot, not returning the papers that they turned in last week is kind of tough. Whereas you guys, you can overlook that. Out of sight, out of mind. And so if I don't set aside time where I'm going to work on this class, then that is a problem. And right now I have virtual office hours, but most of the time, during those times of office hours, I will be here on campus, because if I don't come here, it's easy for me, if I don't set aside, if I don't make plans for where I'm going to be, and if I don't make plans for other times for where I'm going to be and how I'm going to be working, then I don't actually do the work, and that is a problem. So I would say set aside the time, because out of sight, out of mind, people do forget. So as far as it goes, this course it does have 2 papers that are each like 4 to 6 pages, 5 to 7 pages, that kind of range. Neither of them is particularly difficult. And then we have a weekly writing component. The way the course works is the course is supposed to be kind of half theory and half applied. So we're talking about ethics. And so half of it's supposed to be theories like utilitarianism, deontological ethics, virtue ethics, rights approach, egoism, relativism, different theories of ethics, what, philosophers would discuss in that regard. And that's what mainly the lessons are, and the exams are over. But the other half of the course, according to the requirements for the course, the other half of the course is supposed to be an application of ethical theory, or the actual discussion of ethics. And so that's what the discussion boards are for. The discussion boards are there for us to be able to present ethical issues and then discuss them. Some of those cases need to be updated a little bit, but they're all relevant moral issues, things that I think are interesting. And basically it asks you a bunch of questions and you need to give a thoughtful response. And so I say all that to say that, one of the things is I don't think responding to those is difficult. It's a matter of asking your opinion, and I'm not going to judge that. But the thing I do grade those on is, did you put thought into it? Did you not just give a knee-jerk reaction? Did you consider that you could be wrong? Did you consider other people's position? Did you give thoughtfulness? Because one of the things about philosophy and one of the things about ethics is, one of the things we try to teach is we're trying to teach you not just to be able to tell your opinion, but to be able to back up your opinion and to be able to realize the shortcomings of your opinion. Because it doesn't matter what your opinion is, there is an argument against that. And usually those arguments, if we're fully honest with ourselves, are oftentimes very good arguments. I mean, I tend to lean one way in the political spectrum, and I actually date somebody who leans the other way on the political spectrum, and I have my brother who leans the other way in the political spectrum, way over there. I share an office with people, with a person who's way to the other side of me on the political spectrum I'm on, and one of my other colleagues is, so I go both, I've got people all around me who have different political views. And what I find that, they all have very viable arguments. We don't disagree in a lot of ways. We just disagree on a few points. And so if I'm fully honest, like I say, this is a shortcoming in my position. I realize that, but I don't like yours. I just think that yours has shortcomings as well, and I think mine has fewer. And so that's kind of the thing you want to do, is to be self-critical, not just to be like, well, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat and that's what I'm going to do. You need to be self-critical and do that. Now, all the modules throughout this course, so as far as the writing goes, you have to write a response to an ethical issue. And so you need to be able to do some writing, but the exams themselves will be multiple choice or very simple like that. In the past, I've had those be essays, and I decided that was just way too much writing. It has way too much grading for me, but it's also way too much writing when you have to write like a page every week to discuss an ethical issue, and that is half the class. So you need to put time and energy into those discussion boards. If you're not putting that in, I will grade those down pretty hard. So do put the time in on the discussion boards. That is half the course. And then but you do like a page on each of those, and then you do like 4 or 5 essays for your exam, and then you'd write 2 papers, and then you have to write an essay final, and by the end of the semester, I think in the past, for a summer course, would do 40, 50 pages of writing, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Now, I have like 2 papers, each of them maybe 5, 6 pages, and maybe a page each week on the discussion boards, which thus puts you, at around 15 to 20 pages of writing for the semester or for the term, which is not bad. It's a couple pages a week. And so, but do put some time and energy into those. Now, one of the things about this is during the regular semester, sometimes I would make some modules 3 weeks, sometimes they're 1 week, sometimes they're 2 weeks. This first module is actually less than a week. And it starts Monday, it ends Thursday, and it's very simple, it's very straightforward, it's not very difficult. You can complete, I've already had people complete it this morning as I'm making this video, and it's not even noon, and I open the class after 8 a.m. So it's a quick module, it's not real difficult or hard. But this is an easy one, but in future weeks they will be more difficult. Don't assume because this one is easy that all the others can be completed in 3 or 4 hours. A lot of them take more time. For example, the 2 longest ones are the utilitarianism and the deontological ethics one. And both of those modules have 100-point or more module exams, and that's a reflection of the fact there's more information. Those modules during a typical semester, I would give you maybe 3 weeks to do, maybe over spring break you might get 4 weeks, so they are fairly long. You all the modules are open already, so I would encourage you to work ahead on the theory part, on doing the modules, the lessons. Those can be kind of done at their own pace. You have to go back and do the discussion boards as people are doing them, because you can't really get ahead and write a discussion, respond to other people when they haven't written. But you can do this course at your own pace. If you want to do the entire course in 1 week, you can do the entire course in 1 week. You might have to go back and do the discussion boards, but you can do everything else fairly quickly. But the point, though, is that with the utilitarianism and deontological ethics, there's a week, and there's a paper due during that same week with the utilitarianism one, and that is a tough week. Okay, so you might want to work ahead. I don't force you to work ahead. I don't force you to do it all in 1 week. I don't force anything. There's a deadline. And if you wait till the deadline on the week 3, and then you have to get to week 4 and you have to do everything in 1 week, that will be a very difficult week. Okay, you will be working a lot of hours. But you can work ahead. This first module is not that long. Next module, meh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many hours, but I mean, it would not be nearly as long. And would not have nearly as much information. So kind of pace yourself, work ahead, don't be afraid to get ahead, and that's what I would say about that. Let's see my notes here. Oh, as far as the exams go, there is an exam for every module. They are timed. I think all of them are multiple choice or matching. Some of them probably could have more questions. I probably need to develop those more. But I, in the past, did essay questions. I moved over to sort of more multiple choice matching, things like that, true, false, because I wanted to get away from simply doing everything as an essay. I thought that was too much, but I do need to develop those a bit more. But the thing about the time is most of them are fairly quickly timed, and the reason why there is a time is because you need to watch the videos, read the lessons, take notes, read the book, and do everything beforehand. That way, when the exam comes around, when it's time to start the exam, you can go in there. Now, you can look up answers, you can go back and check everything, but if you only have 40 minutes to do 20 questions, that's going to be pretty tough. And so that's why I suggest, that's why the time limit is there, because I'm not doing these to be, oh, okay, I'll just wait and see what the questions are and then just find the answers. That's not a very effective way to learn the material. And so that's why you have to do it. You need to read it, you need to go through the material, and then the test will reflect that. Now, as far as going through the material, I mean, as long as you understand the concepts and the ideas, you probably will do fine that way. All right, so, last but not least, there are 2 extra credit opportunities in this course. The first one is the first discussion board this week. Well, there's actually 2 discussion boards this week, but one of them is just an introductory, tell me about yourself. That's 10 points. Introduce yourself. I introduced myself, told you a little bit about myself, but that's 10 points, and don't pass up that opportunity. That's an easy 10 points to get. The other one is if you see errors, if I have a date wrong, I say something wrong, there's a spelling error, you don't like my punctuation, I may disagree with you about that, but if you have an issue, send me an email, tell me what I did wrong. That serves 2 purposes. One is, I don't like getting the emails telling me I did something wrong, and so it motivates me to be more careful. The other thing is it improves the course for everybody else. And third, I think it empowers you to realize, I'm not perfect and you shouldn't be afraid to tell me if I've made a mistake. But every time you find an error, I will give you an extra credit point. If it's a really big error, sometimes I've been known to give multiple points. If I have something wrong on an exam, it's miskeyed, don't be afraid to ask. And that is the key. As you find stuff, tell me. So those are your extra credit opportunities. As far as it goes, you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid to contact me. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you. So send along your questions, email me, text me, call me, whatever works. I'm here to help you. Thank you.